Have you ever met someone completely cold to the pain of others? You cry, you break down, and they just watch you with dead, chillingly quiet eyes. They aren't necessarily some masked villain or a headline criminal. They could be your boss, your partner, or the person you thought was your best friend. Their brain seems to have completely flipped off the empathy switch. No confusion, no remorse, just an empty void. What is the psychology behind people who lack empathy? Why can they step right over your suffering without a second thought? Picture this scenario, one that is all too familiar. You are going through a massive life crisis. You go to them, exposing your deepest vulnerability, hoping for an anchor. You wait for a hug, or at least a nodding comfort. Instead, you get a cold analysis, or visible annoyance. Why are you overreacting? That's your problem, figure it out. It feels like you are screaming into the vacuum of space. Not a single echo comes back. You start tearing yourself apart. You wonder, are they intentionally punishing me? Do they hate me? The truth is far more terrifying. They aren't purposefully ignoring your pain. They simply do not see it. In their perceptual world, the emotions of others are an invisible language. It doesn't exist. They cannot measure your pain, just like a person born blind cannot distinguish between red and blue. But here is where your delusion kills you. You assume that because they don't understand, you just need to explain more. You cry louder. You talk more. But the reality is, you are trying to describe the beauty of a sunset to a brick wall. To understand the cruelty of this condition, we have to strip down their nervous system. Empathy isn't some cliché moral lesson taught in school. It is a biological mechanism programmed deep into human DNA. The human brain possesses mirror neurons, a highly sophisticated biological radar. When a normal person sees someone shed a tear, their neurons immediately fire, perfectly simulating that exact state of sadness. They don't just know you are sad. They actually feel a piece of your pain radiating in their own body. But in people with toxic manipulative traits like narcissism or psychopathy, this radar system has severed cables. Do not, however, mistake them for being socially inept. Psychological science divides empathy into two types: affective empathy and cognitive empathy. The most dangerous people in this world are those who have lost effective empathy. They feel absolutely none of your pain, but possess phenomenal cognitive empathy. What does that mean? It means they perfectly understand how your brain works. They read you like an open book. They know exactly which button will trigger your insecurities. They know exactly which words will make you feel guilty. They analyze your weakness no differently than a master engineer analyzing a broken machine. They understand your psychology, not to build a connection, but to find the security blind spots, hack in, manipulate, and break you from the inside out. When you realize this mechanism, you will shudder looking back at the toxic relationships you've survived. Facing someone devoid of empathy, crying, or begging for understanding is psychological suicide. The more you prove how hurt you are, the more data you hand them to use against you. They do not view your vulnerability as a desperate cry for help. They view it as an opportunity, leverage to maximize their power. That is when they activate their ultimate weapon, gaslighting. Because they cannot and will not feel your reality, they distort it. When you confront their cruelty, they flip the board with calculated, brainwashing lines. I didn't do anything wrong, you're just too sensitive. You always love playing the victim for attention. You're the reason I have to act this way. The peak of their malice isn't that they reject you. The malice is that they make you reject your own emotions. You become disoriented. You lose your internal compass. You ask yourself, am I the one with the problem? Am I actually going crazy? They slowly strip away your confidence, turning you into a puppet that relies entirely on their judgment to determine what is right, wrong, real, and fake. In the worldview of someone lacking empathy, unconditional love does not exist. Every relationship, with zero exceptions, is a cold transaction. You are not an independent human being with distinct needs. To them, you are a functional tool. Your existence only holds meaning as long as you provide them with narcissistic supply, money, status, care, or simply cowardly submission to reinforce their grandiose ego. The day you run dry, they will walk over you like a piece of expired furniture. Not a single tear, not a single look back. And here is the bitterest truth. A poison-laced pill you must swallow to survive. You cannot heal them. Society and movies have infected our minds with the toxic delusion that love can conquer all. That if you are patient enough, if you sacrifice enough, that layer of ice will eventually melt. Wake up. Your love is not a saving grace. To those devoid of empathy, your kindness is just a free meal. The more life force you drain trying to understand them, the more you become an accomplice in your own destruction. You are throwing the golden coins of your life into an endless black hole, naively hoping that hole will reflect back the light. People lacking empathy are not soulless corpses. They still have emotions, but that entire emotional spectrum points to one single signal: themselves. They have anger when they are exposed or lose control. They have glee when they easily trample over your personal boundaries. And they have absolute arrogance when they see you writhing in the tangled web they wove with their own hands. The worst-case scenario isn't that they were born without a heart. It is that they have one, but it has been locked tight by selfish cruelty, and the key will never be handed to anyone. If you are standing next to someone like this, stop trying to teach the language of light to someone who has chosen to worship the dark. Stop trying to win a game where they dictate all the rules. Your only powerful move is not fighting to be understood. Your only choice is to turn your back and walk away before they drain your soul and turn you into an empty shell just like them. Have you ever been the victim of a manipulator who lacks empathy? How did those empty eyes destroy you? Drop your story in the comments below. Do not forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. The world of dark psychology and invisible behavioral traps will continue to be exposed in the upcoming videos. Don't let yourself become the prey.